Careers will always have trade-offs. One of the key career stallers or stoppers that were identified by research is overdependence on a single advocate.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of this episode together with Sergey Gorbatov, where we talk about redefining careers. And make no mistake, when we're talking about careers and these snippets of audio that you've heard introducing this episode, we're not referring to the traditional career paths that we know are no longer as reliable or predictable as they used to be in the past. So you'll be hearing lots of new terminologies, at least new for me, called like side hustling, career slashing, and conquering evils and avoid going local. I thought that was pretty extraordinary, and you'll hear more about it throughout the conversation. A couple of words once again about Sergey Gorbatov. As many speakers of the WOW, he does wear multiple hats, and he's already embracing and showing how not only it's possible to look into different side hustles, as he calls them, but it's most probably going to be even necessary in the future. So the hats he has, he's a professor at EA Business School Madrid. He's the Area HR Director LATAM for AbbVie, and he is also a writer and podcaster. So fantastic insights. I really strongly recommend you to just enjoy, tune in, but also take notes. And actually, I start the conversation by asking Sergey what are his thoughts about this whole concept of the Great Resignation that we've been hearing so much about, and about career downsizing. So tune in and let's hear what he has to say.
I'm not very comfortable with the title of Great Resignation. Great Resignation means the person leaves and does nothing else. I think the person leaves and starts a different job.
Absolutely. I think that's what that article was
saying. So it's
saying,
maybe
right?
the big shift in the label. Let's call it the Great Shift, or it's not necessarily resignations. It's more, okay, I'm changing jobs, or I'm changing employer, seeking something different for my career. So people are realigning themselves to their own sense of purpose, to their values, to what they're seeking for in a career. And this year of COVID has made us all reflect on what's important for me. What is it that I really care about? And we have been conditioned to pursue certain career paths, and typically those career paths would be up. Okay, I start as an assistant, then I get to be an analyst, a specialist, then I'm a junior manager, senior manager, associate director, VP. Well, all of it all at once, that has been upended, and people saw that they could be at the same time parents and colleagues, and they could start their own blog. There is a joke that if you haven't written a book during COVID, you've done something wrong. So people all of a sudden saw that there was this huge big life for them, and these corporate career ladders once appeared as the ultimate goal of their career, but they said, no, there are other things that are important, and they have an honest conversation with themselves and maybe with significant others about the trade-offs in their careers. And careers will always have trade-offs. Careers will always have sacrifices, and the extent to which you're willing to make a sacrifice. Okay, long hours at work versus time at home. I take an assignment now versus I wait until my children graduate. I've met a life of my life who cannot move versus I have this promotion opportunity to VP. The trade-offs and sacrifices will be there. So this year has made us reflect once again on how far am I willing to go in making those sacrifices. And for many people, the answer was, I'm happy where I am. Mm-hmm. And that led to these trends in career downsizing and saying, hey, you know what? I'm fine here, or I'll be okay at a lower level if I can rebalance that with a hobby, with exactly with something that makes me more fulfilled. And that's why I right now try to stand away from talking about it as career success and turning it more to career fulfillment.
I see.
Because if you're a zookeeper, think about it.
Okay.
Your job is dirty. Chances of promotion are slim. The pay is minimal, and still so many people are passionate and happy about what they're. Is that a successful career? Not according to
The
Wall Street
traditional way.
terms.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Corporate in corporate terms, that would be your definition of a very unsuccessful career. Is that a fulfilled career?
Yeah.
I think that for many of those people, the answer will be yes. And my next question will be, what matters more?
It's
And
funny.
that answer will be unique to each person.
That's correct. It's funny. The other day, I went to see a friend working at the bar, and I started observing. I'm observing now the worlds of work, many different professions that I wasn't necessarily focused on in the past. You gave me a good idea on the zookeeper. I'm going to go visit the zoo for that one too. And her ability to manage the customer relationship, manage the order. She was alone, by the way. The customer relationship, the order, the economic transaction, always keeping a smile on the face, and managing the traffic of customers coming in, etc. I was blown away by that. At a certain point, I said, "Let me help you. let me help you." And she's like, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, "Oh, come on, let me try and see this. How." And first of all, it's really tough. Also, because I really don't know much about how to manage bars and orders, etc. But the satisfaction that it gave me, believe it or not, in terms of having that simple interaction with somebody else on the other side, and picking their orders and seeing a smile on their face, and making them. I kind of thought, you know what? Some jobs are completely underpaid, underrecognized, and yet they give a lot of satisfaction as well to people. And even the customers themselves sometimes take it for granted, because I've also seen a couple who did not behave very nicely, as clients and customers. So anyway, sorry about that parenthesis, but when you talked about
No,
zookeeper,
but you're
I kind of
absolutely
thought,
right. And
there's so many
if you
professions
want,
out there,
yeah.
right?
If you want that type of interaction and you want that satisfaction as an add-on to something else, well, there is always an opportunity to do a couple of hours a day or a couple of hours a week somewhere else, and that's what people are recognizing, that there is not just one life, one job. One
Absolutely.
life, and there is a job, and there might be a side job and something else. Last year there was this article in Academy of Management journal, and it is the journal for social sciences. Every researcher would the pinnacle of their career is to publish an AMJ. So they published an article around side hustles, and that
Right.
is having an extra job in addition to your
Right.
day job. And what they found is that people who had side hustles, they were also more productive in their daily job, as recognized by their colleagues. So it wasn't like they went to Paula and say, "Hey, Paula, do you have a side hustle? Okay, do you feel more productive in your day job?" And Paula says, "Oh yes, I am." No, they went to the colleagues of those people and asked the colleagues to assess how they saw performance of those of their teammates who had something else on the side, and then they say yes, because there was this spillover effect from something that you're doing on the side. And what was important is this: the side job had to have a certain degree of complexity. So it's not like, okay, I'm a financial analyst by day and then I'm a Uber driver by night. I'm a financial analyst, and then, for example, I'm a board member of a local school.
That's so interesting, right? And I mean, I do see a lot more of that happening too. These parallel, you call them side hustles, or AMJ calls it side hustles, but they're like these parallel professions, if you will, and how one influences the other. And I'm a firm believer of that, as you well know. And I think also your example is a good example of that. I mean, how you've been spilling over from, from academia to to corporate, to writing, to podcasting, and the obvious question that I've also asked one of my previous guests, who's also very polyhedric, they're doing multiple professions at the same time, is, how do you manage that time, and how do you manage those priorities?
Oh,
How do
with
you,
great difficulty.
right?
And there is also a term called career slashing.
Okay.
If you Google career slash, it's not having just one career, but one career slash another career, and doing several things at the same time. And sometimes people might feel like, oh, I'm not, or it doesn't feel right to have two jobs or several jobs or doing several things at the same time. But the truth of the fact is that you're more valuable to all of those organizations you're associated with, because first of all, it's unique. It signals to the market that you are capable of more. You are gaining skills, experiences, and knowledge that are unavailable otherwise. And as a result, long term, you emerge as a stronger and more valuable professional, and someone who is more fulfilled, because you're finding outlets for your creative energy and for pursuing different things at the same time. Now, it's not for everyone. It requires intentionality and planning, and making sure that you clearly separate church and state, but also you're gaining a lot of that. Again, it's a trade-off, and it's a trade-off that you need to discuss with yourself and others, just because it's a time commitment and it's an energy commitment. So what are you sacrificing for that? That's that's the coaching question that people in career slashing need to answer.
And how do you see companies reacting to that, to career slashes?
It depends. It depends. Smart bosses would understand that and would encourage, just because there is a positive impact on performance. Not every boss would be happy with that. What you need to be very clear about is that the performance in your main job cannot take a hit. So keep doing great work, and if you're doing great work, you'll be supported. Don't keep your boss in the dark. So if you're doing something on the side, make sure that you align that with your boss, and that you will even get support. Yeah, because smart boss will find way on how to straddle both and how to leverage you better. If there is something happening at the main work, like, I don't know, a conference, a congress, and you need to be there, well, you need to be there. So you need to make sure that the loyalties are right. Your side gig shouldn't be just doing more of what you're doing in your main job, because then you'll just burn out. It's you're not getting pause or rest from that. And also, you need to find opportunities on how to enable that positive spillover. So proactively looking at projects or ideas where you can cross-pollinate, because otherwise you're not leveraging fully these different opportunities.
Hey, that's fantastic tips. I hope people are taking notes. both employees or career slashers and their bosses, because there is a huge benefit, I agree, in terms of productivity, performance, and also creativity and inspiration, because you may get inspiration from one area into another that otherwise you may not. If you stay only focused on one career, you're going to still keep focused on that
That's
career,
what I've
right?
always been saying. Innovation is recombination.
Yeah.
So it's just putting different ideas together in a different order, and voila.
Exactly. And voila, as simple as that. Et voila, on y est. I'm also conscious of time, Sergey, if you still have another 5
Yeah,
minutes or
sure.
so, to kind of wrap up, like you've been doing fantastically up until now, in terms of being very, insightful, mindful in terms of the tips and practical tips. And if you were to give, from your multiple hats, so as an individual yourself who has these multiple professions, if you will, as an HR person and as an academic and researcher, what advice would you give to entrants into a job market or into these new worlds of work, but also to mid-career professionals who may find themselves a little bit at very critical turning point of their lives and of their careers? And imagine up until now, they've been pursuing a paradigm of it's a vertical career. A company's going to take quote unquote care of me and my development. I am a high potential, and therefore I assume I'll continue to be a high potential. Little do I know that maybe I have derailed in the meantime. So what kind of practical tips would you give to entrants into this world of work in terms of how to manage their careers, and to those who already have a little bit of experience under their belt, but maybe struggling at the moment in terms of saying, how do I manage the next step?
My advice to both would be very simple. Conquer evil and don't go local.
Say it again. Conquer evil. Don't go. Okay, but maybe it's the sun that's coming into my eyes now, and I'm getting a little bit. Okay, let's repeat.
So what do
everybody together now? Sing along. Conquer evil. Don't go local. I love it.
What I want to say by that, conquer evil. You're not a God-given gift to any company.
I love that sentence. Yes,
but there is still a
lot
of value that you can deliver. So identify opportunities where you can shine, and I don't leave a job without a wow. We're in the wow podcast, so make sure that you are doing a great job. And in order to do that, you need to develop intentionally, you need to be rewarding to work with, and you need to work on your derailers and your weaknesses. So that's what I mean by conquer evil. Don't go local. Don't get too attached to a profession, a boss, a company. One of the key career stallers or stoppers that were identified by research is overdependence on a single advocate. People who follow their boss and tandem throughout their careers, when something happens to that boss, are often found in a very challenging situation. If you stay too long in one industry, you get embedded and ingrained, and that sort of cages you in. If you stay too long in one country, in one profession, you might be missing out on other opportunities. So that's why those side hustles are so important. They let you experiment. They let you try out new things. And going local also means falling in love with your job. Well, your job won't love you back.
Oh, how sad, right? When I used to work in companies, I always thought I was loved and my job loved me back, because I would receive so many emails of love and affection.
Oh, how did that work out for you?
Yeah, let's say it wasn't reciprocal.
That's why fall in love with your career, not your job.
Yes, that's a lovely one. And if I may add an S to that, fall in love with your careers and with your even potential and possible careers, and as opposed to just staying stuck on one job. And I think also what I'm noticing is people still associate work with a job. And what I'm also hearing you say throughout this podcast is think broader, think wider, longer from a time perspective, and think of these slashes, when it comes to pursuing multiple interests. And I think you may discover new things along the way during the process, by the way.
Seek optionality. In everything that you do, seek optionality. It's very sad, and it hurts a lot when you don't have a choice.
Yes.
So don't get yourself into that situation. Always have options. Always create options for yourself, and be aware of what's out there. You'll be surprised and amazed on how much there is that you're not even considering today. So read, research, explore, talk to others, seek advice, so that you're opening up your mind to everything that's out there in the world of work.
Oh, that's fantastic. That wows me, definitely.
I think I think that was the point. we're in the Wow podcast.
You are living the brand. You're not only living the dream.
There you go. So yeah, go conquer evil and don't go local.
And don't go local. And the final one, I'm going to leave you with this one. What is wowing you at the moment? What is it that's really giving you that extra kick, inspiration, and kind of like, wow?
The resilience of people has been wowing me for the past 18 months. We've proven to ourselves, to everyone else, to the universe, that if we set our mind to something, if we are in it together, if we are deliberate and true to ourselves, we can overcome anything. So and this has really wowed me.
Nice. What a lovely way to finish this episode. Thank you so much, Sergey. Give my regards to California. And we'll stay connected. And by the way, anybody who wants to reach out to you, I'm assuming they can.
Absolutely. Right. Find me on Twitter or LinkedIn now.
Exactly. Thanks so much, Sergey, for participating. Really enjoyed it.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Take care. Well, there you go. And here we are. This is the end of what an amazing episode together with Sergey. Fantastic conversation. Very playful and at the same time very insightful and thought-provoking, I would also dare say. So stay tuned to the World of Work podcast, to the Wow. This is so much more than just work, guys. We're not talking about jobs anymore. We are talking about designing opportunities, creating them, and making sure you do whatever is necessary for you to do to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And you do that with a smile on your face. That always helps. Until the next time, make sure you subscribe to the World of Work podcast. And as always, take good care.